Hey guys, back with another old guy reaction to,
Where are the old guys?
I don't know,
So we're taking over
they're
for
out
now?
there,
Yo!
to a philosophical question. You ready for this one?
I'm not sure,
Okay,
but lay it on me.
I put it right in front of your face on Google. Does living your life for others make your life have meaning?
Does living your life for others
Make your
Your
life
life.
have meaning?
have meaning?
Well, we can make this a very quick reaction. I'll answer it right now. Yes. You ready for the next one?
We need to expound on your yes just a little bit.
Well-
So do you really believe that?
Yes. I do believe that. And here's why. Well, I could go a million different ways, but let's just start with selfishness. That is the opposite of living your life for others. So,
Being self-consumed, self-absorbed,
yes.
and maybe not to an extreme, but living life solely for one's own goals,
Yes.
objectives, without regard to others.
Yes.
Okay.
So, let me give you a quick story. I had an uncle, and he was just like this guy that he lived for others, and he, he was just one of those guys that he would come over and he'd be like, "Hey, check out my new knife," and he'd pull out like a little pocket knife or something. "What do you think of this?" And I'd be like, "Oh, that is so cool." And I'm looking at him like, "That is so cool. I can't wait to have one of those one day." He's like, "Oh, you can have this one." And I was like, No. He's like, "Oh, yeah, you really like this?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "But no, I don't want to take your knife." He's like, "No, take it." And he would give it. It's like you talk about people giving you the shirt off their back. That's the way he was. Dude, that was so meaningful for me as a kid. I wanted to emulate that. Now, he did not give it to me because he wanted me to praise him. He wanted to give it to me because it meant something to me.
How do you know that?
Well, I don't, but I
What if-
felt it.
Okay, you did feel it, but what if he wanted you? What if in a selfish way he wanted you to praise him, or to? What if in a selfish way he wanted the feeling of you admiring him?
It is true but I was a selfish little kid, right? I was a selfish little kid. I didn't sit there and go, "Oh, my uncle's the greatest person on the planet." I felt that, but I didn't say it.
You didn't sing his praises.
Exactly.
You didn't create a song about a
I
pocket
was
knife.
not singing songs of praise, but he did that over and over and over again. So I don't know.
So you think that he was just naturally, whether naturally or he had learned to be generous, and
Yes.
thought more about the other person and what makes them happy.
Right. And so his life to him, which I don't know what his meaning was in life, right? It is, does living your life for others make your life have meaning? Now, we could totally take this the other way, where somebody could have selfish motivations.
Right?
That's a tough one, because if there is a selfish motivation, there's no meaning in that, I guess. What do you think?
Well, there's meaning for that individual. I do believe there are people who come across as very kind, come across as very loving and generous, but are doing it because they want to look good. That might borderline a mental dysfunction or something that's a serious personality problem.
Well, let's take a corporate industry, right? You're trying to live your life for your boss, but you're really seeking an advancement in your job, a promotion.
Yeah.
Yeah, my life's going to have meaning if I can just kiss my boss's rear end a little bit, right? And he might say that's living my life for others, right? But it's really not. It's really living for yourself and your own desires of advancing in your job.
Yeah, that's one microcosm or one arena. I think the question probably is trying to be more nakedly honest and say, if you are really living your life for others, because I think if you're in a job that I'm not living for my client.
Yeah.
I am pretending I am, but I've got to make the sale.
Yeah.
I've got to keep this relationship for the sake of my company and my boss. So I'm going to do what I need to do, and it appears that I'm being sacrificial, and it appears that but we know.
However, there are salespeople that are living for others that people just will naturally buy from them because they truly are trying to help. Is that right?
You'll have to introduce me to them.
I guess we're going to have to define, what the life of meaning is. Right? So, because I think of people from the past. We've had people die in our lives. And you go to a funeral and it's like, he was a good man and, he's a great guy and blah, blah. And I'm sitting there going, okay, nobody's going to remember this guy other than maybe his immediate family. They'll remember him for a short period of time. But I have no significant
connection
to this guy of how he was. But then there's some. I go to their funeral. I am weeping with devastation, like that person made a difference in everybody's life. And I'm looking around and everybody's crying. And that person is going to be so missed. That person lived for other people. And he gave to all these people. And we're all weeping because we're horrified.
I understand what you're saying, because I think I've always, not always, but I've said that many times, is that, memorials and funerals are those few places that all the junk of life gets stripped away.
Mm-hmm.
And you see what's real.
Yeah.
Because and I know that we spend a lot of our time day to day doing things and pursuing things and sometimes dreaming of things that don't really matter. But at the end of the day, if the end of the day is a funeral, at the end of the day, people remember not what you did, not your accomplishments,
right?
Not the business you built.
Right.
They don't remember the car you drove. They don't remember the neighborhood that you bought that great house in. They don't remember, and I can go down the list of the things that we put our energies into. But they remember how you made them feel.
Right. They remember the impact that you had on them.
Well,
or that person had on you.
Here's a brutal question, and I don't know if this relates to this, but so we both know this, right? We know.
You're going to tell me something we both know is true.
No, we know this true. We know. We've observed this at funerals.
Yes.
Okay, so knowing this, do you think that you'll be one of those people?
Great question. That's a great question.
Well, I don't want it turned on me, but I'm just asking, I'm asking you. Because I've asked it to myself, and
I don't know 100%. Okay, but here's what I strive for. I strive to spend my life serving, right? That's what my life is. I serve. Sometimes it's overwhelming. And I'm not doing it. I can't say no. That's what's so hard. So,
So are you saying that comes naturally from your personality, or it's because
that's my personality?
Because you're striving to be this kind of person?
No, that's just my personality. In fact, people take advantage of me. I've had people embezzle money from me. I've had people steal from me. I've had people, and everybody gets mad at me that I've allowed these things to happen. But I can't help it. And do I go after those people? Do I put them in jail? Do I go sue them? Do I do anything like that? No.
Yes. Oh.
Right?
No.
And people are like, you're an idiot. Okay? But that's just me. So I strive to understand other people the best I can. And it's called grace, right? And so hopefully one day, they'll remember whatever grace I've given them, I guess, if they've stolen from me or if they've whatever, Now, I don't do that on purpose.
So are you saying that you hope one day that your good deeds will, almost like karma, come back to you in a good way? Or you?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about, like you said, if I was at a funeral, would they say, this guy forgave me $10,000?
Well, here's a question that here's a question that some people might ask. At that point, what does it matter? You're gone.
Oh yeah, I don't care. Right? Yeah. No, you just asked if I thought.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, because I think, why do we think about what people will think about when we're gone? I mean, why do we do that?
Because
I don't want my funeral to be embarrassing.
No, I'll tell you why. Because every single person on the planet wants to die believing they had a purpose, and their purpose was fulfilled, and part of that purpose was making an impact in other people's lives.
And they want to know that when they're
alive. If you don't make an impact in people's lives, and
it will be summed up then.
That's just a horrible life.
Yeah.
Right? So you want to...
But while you're alive, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's funny because we talk about a lot in our culture about living a life that's happy.
Mm-hmm.
But this question does not say, does living your life for others make your life happier?
Right.
Or more happy?
It says, does it have meaning?
To me, that's really critical. That's a really critical difference, because I believe our culture is always pursuing happiness. Mm-hmm. I think that if you go into a bookstore, you'll see a huge spread of books on the latest regimen, or
self-help.
The most popular self-help book about how to be happy. Mm-hmm. And it's very seductive. He's like, oh, yeah, who doesn't want to be happy?
How to win friends and influence people.
Yeah.
Think about that one.
But I think that this question is pretty profound, because many people do not ask it in this way. How do I make my life have more meaning? Yes. And I think that if we have more meaning in our life, we will become happier. I mean, it's written into our Declaration of Independence that we are given the...
Well, if your life has meaning, you're going to be happy. Period.
Right. But I think that we're even from our government that we live under, mm-hmm. and its inception, to all the messages that we hear in our popular culture today, it's framed that we should pursue happiness. The pursuit of happiness.
Yeah, that's right. That's
and
true.
I think it's a little backwards.
Yes.
Because happiness is like, have you ever tried to catch like a butterfly? It's
the
just,
pursuit of happiness. It's interesting, isn't it?
Maybe they should have said the pursuit of meaning.
That's very...
Thomas, you missed the boat. Because really, I mean, I'm just thinking about that right now. What you just said is so correct. If we find meaning, we will have happiness.
And if you look at this question, how can you make your life have meaning?
Right.
There's only a few ways.
Well, why don't you come up with a couple here? Or two,
well, to me, serving others, oh, dude, that's humongous. That is the number one way to have meaning in your life.
Give me an example of serving others. Because some people, and I don't know, I'm trying to...
Yes, right, because serving sounds bad. Serving sounds bad.
I mean, I know you're a butler, and I know you do this on a regular basis, but...
So, like, I don't get mad, all right?
I get even.
Yeah, I'll kick your ass anytime you think you want to say something bad. But I don't get mad at people because what I do is I realize that yes, there's evil people out there. But most of the people, if they hurt me or do something to me, there's got to be a reason why they did it, and I have to look in their perspective. And this isn't serving, but it's part of I guess the grace that you need to serve people.
Some people don't know what grace is.
Grace? Well, let me look it up.
Well, I would say...
I want to look up the definition.
Okay. I mean, because you've used that term now twice.
Yes.
In this conversation. And I think that how I take it from what you're saying...
Yep.
I think that it's, this...
I like the definition better because it would take me like 30 seconds to do it. But grace is courteous and goodwill. Or forgiveness. Or...
I also think it's mercy.
Mercy.
That's extended even before you need it. So, grace is... You run across a graceful person, you know that you cross them in some way and that you offend them, that they're going to extend this thing called grace. You're good. Like you're not walking on eggshells. You know how some people, like, you do something bad, you know that they're somehow going to punish you.
There's going to be now don't take my grace and serving people as a weakness, because I also can draw lines and protect myself.
Well, that's human.
So yes. So for example, I might, if I have an employee that has robbed a bank, he might not be my bookkeeper. Okay?
Might not.
That is a line.
Will not.
Will I extend grace to that person and have him work for me in a different position?
Or on a personal level, even if he doesn't work for you, you will not cut... Perhaps you will not cut him out of your life forever.
Right, exactly. I will extend him forgiveness because I can forgive an act of somebody because we've all done something stupid, right? Even if it's robbing a bank. I don't care what it is. I can forgive it, okay? But, yes, I don't have weakness, but serving is not weakness. Serving is strength because... You really have to be strong to look at other people's perspectives and not just enforce your own, and to forgive other people, and to and you know, I don't even know what to say.
Well, we're talking about grace, and I think that going back to the question, does living your life for others make your life have meaning? Yes, it does. That question implies that would be your goal. That is the totality. I'm going to qualify it here a little bit and say that I personally don't believe that this world, this little blue ball that's floating in space, is the only thing that exists. So I believe there's a bigger design.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at the complex details of our body, our atomic structure, when I learn about, the intricate relationships of all our organs that keep us alive from minute to minute, and then within a second I can look at how complex cosmology is and how the planets are perfectly aligned, and our gravity is perfectly precision created so that we can exist. I go, there's got to be a designer, and the design, that leads me to the idea that this designer had a plan. He didn't just randomly create something like, this is a nice work of art, I'm gonna just throw it out in my big black space living room. Yeah. No, I've got it's a living work of art, and I've got a plan for it. So I feel like I'm part of a grand plan, and
so you're taking it towards this question of how that you live your life.
Well, I don't think that it's just about. I don't think it's just about living in this microcosm and living for others, but there's also a triangulation with living for the designer.
Mm-hmm.
And the designer is informing me how to better live for others. It's a complex relationship. It's not just living for my daughter, not just living for my wife. What if they die? Then I'm screwed.
Yeah. Well, others in general. So I learned when I was in my young 20s. I think I was 22, 21, something like that. And I met this guy. And every time I saw him, he'd be like, "Hey Rob, how you doing, man? How's everything going, man?" Right? And he's looking right in my eyes. And I'm thinking, does this guy really want to know what's going on in my life? I'm like, well, everything's great, I mean, how's work? Oh, work's going good. I'm right, And he just kept wanting to know more and more and more and more. And he never talked about himself. And I thought, man, that was weird. So then I see him again. "Hey Rob, how you doing, man? Hey, you said last week you were going and doing this thing. Did you get that promotion or whatever?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Oh, that's so fantastic, man. That's so great. What are you gonna do after that?" And I'm going, this guy, this is ridiculous. Every time I saw him, he wanted to know more. But you know what I got out of that?
He was a spy for the
This guy was interested. And he was married with kids, so like that. He was.
So he wasn't hitting on you.
Exactly.
Darn it.
He actually was like that. I started watching him with other people, and I started talking to other people, and they're like, "Oh, that guy, dude, he is so awesome." I'm like, man, blah, blah, blah. The next person I meet, they're like, "Oh yeah, that guy, I love that guy, man. He's just so cool." And I was going, "Oh my goodness, dude, that is inspiring. That guy is genuinely interested in people, and he's humbled himself. And if I say, 'Hey dude, I need you to help me move this week,' and you'd be like, 'Oh, okay, yeah, sure, yeah, I'll be there,' right?" And you're like, people are like, oh well, I gotta clean the turds out of the backyard of my dog.
Inflict moving with me on my best friends. That's
right.
sure.
It's like the guy served people. That made a huge impact on me in my young age. We talked the other day about, after a certain age, you get hard and fast, and you get hardened on your beliefs and stuff like that. But I actually said, man, I want to be like that guy. It was crazy.
It
changed me.
Do you think that you became more like him?
I started looking at other people's perspectives. I started deciding that I'm not going to be the guy that overwhelms the conversation. I'm going to listen to them, and I want to hear what they do. Today in my business, I'm like that all the time. I talk to people, and then they just pour out their life to me, and I'm like, that is the coolest thing I've ever heard. Like, I've heard all their jobs, their kids, their thing, and it's interesting hearing other people's lives and what they do and how they do it and where they got there, where they met their spouses, and when I'm interested, guess what? I'm successful.
So you don't. You literally think that you would have ended up being a different kind of person.
I don't know. I just know that made a huge impact on me when I was young. I felt like I want to know more about people. Yeah. Like I wasn't saying I don't want to be like this guy and be fake.
Yeah.
I just want to start asking questions like he asked and see if I am interested in people's lives. And guess what? I am. I'm totally interested in it. It's interesting. I'm setting up a thing right now to go onto YouTube, and I want to communicate with a core group of people that are interested in my videos.
Yeah.
I want to get to know these people. I want to learn. And that's not because I'm selfish. I don't have a selfish motive on it. I want to meet new people and figure out what their worlds are like.
Yeah.
Because they have a complete different world from me.
Yeah, and I don't. I've heard people say, this is my truth. I don't necessarily agree with that statement. I think that everyone has a different perspective of the truth. I think there's like one truth, but we all, kind of like the blindfolded men around the elephant, and they're describing the truth. They only see a part of the truth. That's why it's fascinating running into that other individual who also was blindfolded, and you say, yeah, what's your experience? And you hear something totally different.
Yeah.
And so you're right. When you live your life for others, your life becomes richer automatically.
Yes.
I mean, and
that's
so
the most beautiful way to say it.
So let's say going back to that analogy, you are blind. If we all accept that we're blind and that we're only seeing a small part of life, then we have to accept the idea that the other person's blind and that they're also seeing a small part of life, but it's not our part. We're only seeing a small part, but it's our part.
Yep.
We're limited by our experience. And so we can ask them and invite them into our life and then share our life with them, vice versa. And our life will be richer because, like, no way, is that what you experienced? That's what you felt? That was what you felt on this elephant? And then they'll do the same. That we'll share experiences, and our life will be richer. And I assume if they're humans like us, their life will be richer.
Right.
And I think that's where the happiness comes from, because you're like, wow, life is so much bigger than my little kaleidoscope.
Right. Yeah.
And beyond just the experience thing, I'm sure you've had many times the ability then, once you entered into their life, to help them. And that's very fulfilling when you can actually help people, because I think sometimes in a wealthy society we forget that people need help. It's easy, like when you're out in Kenya, and it's average when somebody gets malaria every month, or somebody is destitute because of a drought. But here in a wealthy culture, we kind of forget that people actually need help, and sometimes it's not
That's right.
material help. It's they just need a listening ear. They need they need a friendship, or they need they need some of those.
They're in a town with no family, and they need a place to go for Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I mean, that's So the question: does living your life for others make your life have meaning? To me, it's an absolute yes.
Yeah. After this conversation, absolutely.
Yes.
And going back to what we said earlier, I think we obsess too much on happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Because we see that as the bright, shiny goal. And of course we love to be happy and joyful.
Yeah.
But we should be pursuing serving others.
In fact, I'm going to answer my question right now. Does living your life for others make your life have meaning? Absolutely yes. Now, the next thing would be, does living the life for yourself not have meaning? Yes. To me...
Oh, you turned it on its head.
That's right. If you are living your life for yourself, your life does not have meaning in the end.
And you will be unhappy.
Now, that's right. That's right. Now, could you just live your life and, you'll be one of those guys, yeah, he was a good guy. Everybody's like, can't wait to go play tennis.
I enjoy tennis.
Exactly, after this. But if you really want your life to have meaning, you serve other people. Period.
I'm going to have to
live your
learn
life for others.
I'm going to have to learn how to do that better. I think that's the other troubling thing that's come from this conversation is, how can I better serve others day to day? And I believe it can be in simple ways. It doesn't have to be some momentous,
That's right.
I'm going to join a nonprofit.
That's right.
Or I'm
you
gonna...
don't have to be, it's a heart thing, man. It is not something that you're like, I'm going to go help the neighbor next door, but hey, at least I'll have meaning. That's not what it is. Okay? It is humility.
Okay.
Love.
So it's a change of heart.
It is a change of heart.
It's putting away your desires.
It's dying to yourself. Period.
And living for those that you can love.
That's right. Yeah. And you'll
So
have
one thing
so
we all
much
have
meaning.
that we can give away. We all forget this, that the world desperately needs this. It can solve so many of our problems in societies and civilization. And it's the one thing we're all born with. And it's funny because we don't use it. The love that we have, moment by moment, that we can give out to people, and it's not a sentimental kind of love. It's just I care about you and I want to sit down and listen to what you're saying kind of love.
But what's interesting that you said that, though. You said we're all born with it. We are actually born selfish.
Okay.
Right? It's not a natural thing to want to serve others. It's more, when you're born, it's survival, right? I made an analogy where
Give me my baby food.
You put two babies, exactly, and you put one toy in there, they're fighting over it, right?
Right.
So it's a selfish feeling. So this is a heart changing. This is a...
Which is why we are talking about it right now.
Exactly.
It's something where you can be an older person and kind of come to a realization. Like, you know what? I've been living for myself.
Yes.
And
how can I serve others, and how can I freely do it and not desire something in return? That is something that almost takes an unnatural, like a supernatural change of your heart. And so...
I think it comes to the realization that you are not the end all, and also that love is not a finite resource, but that's being poured from something else into you and flowing through you. If you think that, the more I give away love, the less I'm going to have, the less energy I'm going to have, whether it's on a conscious or unconscious level, then yeah, you're going to kind of conserve it. Mm-hmm. But if you believe that I'm just a tool in this world, going back to what I was saying earlier, and that the designer is pouring love through me, then that I'm just a conduit.
That's right.
It's like electricity just pouring through me.
Yeah.
I'm a conduit. I don't have to be responsible for artificially engineering it. It's just going to pour through me, and then whoever encounters me will encounter love.
Yeah. Because we do have love built into us. Yes, we're born selfish, but we do have love because we have love for our family, we have love for our, people and stuff. But taking that and channeling it, like you said, to others, that is where you got to work on it. It's intentional at first. It has to be intentional at first because it's not natural. But the more intentional you get, the more natural it becomes. And if we could all do that, everybody's life would have meaning. It would be incredible. So not everybody can do it. But if you want your life to have meaning, you figure out how to do it intentionally, and then it'll become more natural and more natural and more natural. And it will take you so far in life. Trust me.
And I'm not saying that I'm 100% there. But
we're never 100% there.
Okay.
You just keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and you're going to screw up, and you're going to screw up because selfishness always roots up out like a weed.
Okay,
and all of a sudden you're like,
yeah,
I'm going to beat that guy, and you're like, that guy is thinking like me. He wants that job, and we both want the job, and I don't want anything bad to happen to him, good luck on the job. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
it's like one of us is going to be, I got to be happy for you.
Sometimes when you live your life for others, you are going to step back. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to take, you could jump into that place in line, but you might step back for somebody else.
Well, yeah, you could. But like if you're the scenario of me going for a job, that someone else going for, I'm not going to step off and say, hey, I'll let you have the job. I mean, I'm still living my life. But for me to be mad at that guy or think he's an idiot or how could they choose that jerk or, whatever, that's where my selfishness is rearing up, and that's not good, right? I need to say congratulations on that job,
But I'm going to more the everyday idea. I remember after 9/11, for about a week, when I was in traffic, it was something about 9/11 and that whole trauma everyone went through. It's kind of like it stripped away the selfishness for a while.
Yep.
When I was in traffic, people were like stopping their car. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. It didn't matter to them anymore. Mm-hmm. So when I say, I'm not talking about the big thing where you're like, you're in a natural competition for a job. You're not going to go, oh, I'm going to let everyone go in front of me. But day to day, and some of those little things that matter, sometimes even more to our happiness, the grace we give people.
That's right.
The grace we give people. Road rage.
Yeah.
We can get so caught up in all those around us, or we can say, you know what, I'm a person that's filled with grace. Go ahead.
Go ahead and get in front of me.
Doesn't matter.
That's right. You obviously need to get work faster. I can slow down to 2 miles an hour a little bit, 2 miles an hour less, so you can get in front of me, right? And I am not going to be mad.
That and I'm saying that's tough because our egos are so fragile.
Yep.
But I think that we can work towards this idea that if we live for others, because there have been times where going back to that little scenario, I've given people their little space and they wave. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know what? I'm glad.
Yes, exactly.
And so it's worth it. And, there will be times that you won't get that, but does that matter?
No, they might not have waved, but they're like, oh, thank you, man.
Yeah.
Right? Because they weren't wanting to be a jerk. We're going, You're a jerk, you idiot. And
maybe
they weren't even trying to be a jerk. They just needed to get over.
In this long conversation, maybe that right there is the synopsis of life. We are always assuming the worst of other people.
Exactly.
And the reality is everyone needs grace.
Yes.
Everyone is going through something and they're focused on their life. And if we give them a little bit of space and a little bit of room, they may not wave, but a lot of times they will.
Yes.
But we don't need to wait. We don't need to live for that wave.
Yeah, you don't need to see
it.
it. We just say, you know what? You just gave them.
I'm just like you.
Yes. Exactly. I think we ended there.
All right.
All right.
I love it, man.
I like it, man.
It was a good conversation.
This is a great question. So,
yeah, guys. It was a long one.
Yeah, it was long. Sorry, guys, but man, it's our reaction to philosophy. Tell us what you think.
Philosophy, love of wisdom. That's what it means. Love of wisdom.
Exactly.
So we love wisdom here.
All right, guys. Peace.